welcome. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Miss Bennett and I absolutely love maths and a few other hobbies such as cooking, health, lifestyle and doing things with my family really. So today is the 75th anniversary of VE Day and we're in lockdown with COVID-19. So unfortunately there'll be a lot of people who are lonely, which is the complete opposite to what VE Day was. But I hope this video can bring you some joy and celebrations, whether you are alone or with loved ones. I'm going to be joined by some of my family members and we're going to share with you some fun facts, dancing, memories and information about VE Day and things that you can maybe do to celebrate with your loved ones or on your own. First up is my lovely, fun, bonkers cousin, Jennifer. And she is very socially distanced. I'm having to Zoom call her to do this.
So Jen, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Hi, I'm Jen. I'm the oldest Bennett cousin of all the Bennett cousins that we have. I'm a nurse in A&E in London at the minute. So I'm down here, I've got my London mug. Woohoo! Yeah, just going to work, looking after people who've got maybe coronavirus, but also have all kinds of accidents and emergencies, which recently there's been a real uptake in Zoom call injuries. So for all of you people out there watching YouTube videos and going to Zoom parties, just be careful because you can get some serious injuries if you fall off your chair.
Thanks for that, Jen. Okay, so Jen, in terms of like being from Manchester, living in London, why have you chosen to live in London? What is it that makes you want to live there?
Oh, I think I've kind of lived all over, and I initially came down here to study nursing, and I've never really been to London before, but once I was here kind of studying, I just loved it so much. It's really multicultural, there's loads of stuff to do, there's like great museums, and I love the Queen and the whole royal family, and I only live 3 miles from Buckingham Palace, so I can get on my bike and cycle to Buckingham Palace and wave at the Queen. Yeah, so I'm very patriotic, so it's nice to be in the capital city where kind of all the stuff happens.
I love it, I love it. So being patriotic, tell me, what does that mean when it comes to VE Day today?
Well, I think it's being patriotic to me is just a sense of community and everyone being together. So obviously I wasn't around at the first VE Day, the victory in Europe, but I would imagine that in that time in 1945, it was about all the communities, all the neighbours, everyone coming together and celebrating the end of what was, quite a few years of upheaval and turmoil, not unlike what we're experiencing now, although it's a completely different thing. But yeah, just being together and celebrating, being able to see your loved ones and share food and drink and celebrate the good times with your friends and family.
Well, actually, what is VE Day? I've said that it's the 75th anniversary of VE Day, but what is it?
So VE Day is a celebration which marks the official end of the war, the Second World War in Europe. So victory in Europe is the V and the E. And I think, according to my granddad, who I spoke about this to, who was around at the time, everyone had seen it coming, but May 8th was the day that they finally decided, like, yes, the victory in Europe, like, this is the day that we're going to mark it on. However, the war was still going on because even though it was over in Europe, it was still happening over in the east in sort of Japan and India. So it wasn't a complete end to the Second World War, but it was over in Europe. And I think the European part was what affected the British population quite a lot because of all the bombings and things. And then the eastern part, the victory in Japan and further east came later on in the year. But altogether, I think it's called different things. Victory Day, I think it's just Victory Day or VE Day, but it gets celebrated in America and in other countries in Europe and in like Russia as well. So yeah, there's lots of people celebrating it.
I didn't know.
I had to learn a little bit about it myself to see, all of these things.
And how do you think people across Europe are going to celebrate today with all this that's happening?
Well, I guess following government advice. So if we think back to what it might have been like in 1945, you couldn't move for all the crowds of people outside. Everyone was out in the streets with their neighbours. Everyone in London was going to Piccadilly Circus and going to Buckingham Palace, so much so that you couldn't even move when you were walking. You were like cheek to cheek. And then this year, when we've come to celebrate it this year, because of what's happening around the world, the best advice to keep everyone safe and healthy is to stay in your own home, which I think might be a real big struggle for people because it's a celebration that you want by its nature to be with other people and be out partying and be engaging with people. But this year we kind of have to make a bit of a sacrifice and say, right, we can celebrate, but we still have to keep safe. But I think one of the good things about, well, not a good thing, but one of the positive things that's emerging from this coronavirus is that people are becoming more inventive with ways to celebrate and ways to get in touch with friends and loved ones. And actually, it might make people think, oh, maybe people that haven't celebrated VE Day before will now think, well, I've got a bit of time, I might make some scones, I might put up a bit of bunting. Because
finally, just before we head over to Nana for her memories of VE Day, do you have any fun facts or good facts about VE Day?
I do actually. I'm a big fan of fun facts, always useful in a Zoom family quiz. So it's something that I learned today, and I promise this is not a sponsored push or anything, but I went to Marks and Spencer's and I bought this tin of shortbread biscuits because it's a commemorative 75th anniversary tin. And I like tins to keep my letters in for my correspondence. And on the side of it, it's got a great fun fact that said, during the Second World War, Marks and Spencer's colleagues supported the war effort by raising £5,000 towards a Spitfire, and they named it the Marksman.
Oh, that's cool.
We all got together, and that's the Marksman on the tin. So if anyone's feeling like they want to sit down and have a cup of tea and some biscuits, this is a great commemorative tin from Marks and Spencer's. And my other one, which I love, is that on VE Day, like I said before, everyone in London was out celebrating. There was parties everywhere in the streets, everywhere, all the pubs were kept open late, and at the time, Princess Elizabeth, who is now our Queen Elizabeth, Princess Elizabeth, and her younger sister, Princess Margaret, were young girls, like I think teenagers or early 20s, late teenagers. And as a special treat, the King and the Queen Mother said that they could go outside of the gates of Buckingham Palace and celebrate with all the common people. So, like incognito, they snuck out the back of Buckingham Palace and just blended into the crowds, and no one knew who they were, because I suppose everyone was all excited and everything. And they came and they stood on the other side of Buckingham Palace gates, looking up at the balcony, and where they were with all the thousands and thousands and thousands of people behind them chanting, "We want the King, we want the King," when the King and the Queen Mother came out onto the balcony to wave at everyone. And then they had a bit of time, like, as regular people celebrating VE Day.
Wow, I did not know that. I did do a little bit of research, but I thought they'd come out onto the balcony as if, like, that's the first time anyone had seen them, although I don't know why I thought that.
Well, they did come out onto the balcony 8 times that day. So I'm sure that Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret were with them on some of them, but later on, I think in the evening, they were allowed to go out and mingle.
Oh, fun. Cool.
And then, and another thing is that at the beginning of April, when the Queen made her address to the nation about what's happening in the world with coronavirus, she finished off the speech by saying, "We will meet again." And I think that that's going to be a really nice tie into today, because when she, immediately after she makes her speech today, this evening, then everyone's being encouraged to go out and stand on their doorsteps or sing from their windows, sing the very famous virulent song "We'll Meet Again," which is very popular during the Second World War.
So I'm going to head over to Nana now for her memories of VE Day. Okay, Nan, so heading over to you, I want you to tell me, first of all, who you are and what you do, a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go on to the next question. So, off you go.
Right, I'm Jean Bennett, and I'm grandma to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 7, 10, 11, 12, 10 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren.
Lovely, and how old are you?
I'm 85.
Okay, and what was it like? What can you remember about living through part of the World War? How old were you when the World War was going on, and what was it like?
I was 4, and I started school, and we used to, there was an air raid shelter at the back of the school, so when the sirens went, you took your tin of sweeties and went and sat in the air raid shelter.
And was it scary?
Not really, no.
Was it anything like the coronavirus lockdown?
Pardon?
Was it anything like the coronavirus lockdown?
No, I didn't. At my age, I didn't realise that. It was all a game, really, for us, you know. We used to like the sirens going off because we've got the sweetie tin.
Okay, so what was VE Day like? And can you remember much of it? What happened on that day?
I can remember because I'd gone to the cinema with my mum and dad at the bottom of Sandy Lane there, it was the Savoy. And when we came out, there was all these people out and they were all shouting and and laughing and setting fireworks off, which I thought was good.
So did you celebrate on that day?
Not really, because it was 10 o'clock at. Oh, now then, wait a minute. No, I don't think so.
Did you celebrate at all?
Yeah, there's all people out in the street and that.
Okay, and what kind of things were they doing?
Singing and dancing and what have you.
Yeah? What kind of dancing were they doing?
Well, I don't really know. They were just going round with their arms round one another and going round in circles, as far as I can remember.
Well, I've done a little bit of research, both me and Jen have, and there's a dance called the Lindy Hop. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently this is a dance that they did, and Jennifer is learning the Lindy Hop, her and Miles, so...
Hi Eleanor and everyone. So as promised, we are going to do the Lindy Hop. I've persuaded Miles to get involved for VE Day, but I've never danced the Lindy Hop before. I don't really know what it is, apart from it's very high energy. So we found this guy on YouTube, which we'll have a little look at. He's got 372,000 views, so hopefully he knows what he's talking about. Let's see. He seems very keen.
I have what I hope is a tolerably simple.
Thanks guys for watching. I hope you've really enjoyed that. I'm going to pop some of the links down below that we've been talking about. Hopefully you or you and your loved ones can celebrate. Take some more information from the links below, some activities, some ideas. Don't forget the Queen's speech, and have a great day. Take care. Bye.